Good morning, y'all. It is currently 2:06 p.m., May 20th, 2025, and I'd like to tell you a few stories about the dreams that I had this morning. You may have noticed that I missed a few days. I think the last day I uploaded was the 16th. The 17th, I didn't remember a dream. And then the day before yesterday, which would be the 18th, I did remember a dream. I just didn't have the time to record a video. So we'll start with that one. This was a couple days ago. So today's Tuesday. This was Sunday. This was the dream that I had Sunday. The first thing that I remember, a little context for this dream is I've started playing D&D with my dad, my brother, and a friend of ours. The friend of ours is the DM. So that's the context of this dream. Actually, session 2 was later in the day this Sunday, the day that I had this dream. So the first thing that I remember is being with Nathan, my older brother, the one that's in the D&D party, and his wife, my sister-in-law. And I believe that we are at their place, their trailer. He calls for me from the living room. I'm in the other room. I think I'm like in the bathroom or something. He says that I guess we're going to be doing D&D every week now. And I'm like, why's that? And he tells me about a text exchange between our DM and our dad. The DM says that we can't do it today like we planned. And then Dad says, well, we better do it next weekend then. And I tell my older brother, I'm like, well, that doesn't necessarily mean that we'll be doing it every weekend. I see that he's made a character sheet and he's practicing with my sister-in-law. He's saying how he doesn't like it so far. And I see that one of his skills is at 9. And he gave himself a -1 in that skill. I don't know if you're familiar with D&D, but if you have a skill at 10, that's baseline, so your bonus is just 0. Anything that's 2 or higher than 10 gives you 1 bonus, so 12, 14 gives you 2, 16 gives you 3. Anything that's 8 or lower gives you a -1. So 8 would give you -1, 6 would give you -2. So his was at 9, and he still gave himself the -1. So I tell him that it should be 0, not -1. And we both tease his wife for not noticing that he made that mistake. She helped him with the character and is helping him practice with what I assume they were doing a one-shot. I tell him that he should keep practicing. They are using... this is a really weird detail. Sorry I'm reading from my journal a lot. This was a couple days ago, so I don't really remember it that closely. They were using one of my old phones, either to listen to music or they're watching a video on YouTube or something. And I just randomly pick it up and start looking through it, and I find an old hentai that I used to watch a lot. And then that's that. That's all I remember from that dream. Yesterday, I didn't remember any of my dreams. So, this is the first dream from today. I had like 4 dreams today. So, buckle up, because this might be a lot. The first dream that I remember, I'm an observer. And the first thing that I remember is Vegeta from Dragon Ball. He's sitting at a table. And on the other side of the table is like the big villain. I don't remember who it was. I think it was an original character. I don't think it was a Dragon Ball character. And they are talking to each other about something. I don't remember exactly what they were saying. But the big villain, he's the leader of an army. It's not Frieza, okay? I think he's like a humanoid. I do remember that much. I don't know if he was a Saiyan, but he was like, human looking. He wasn't like an alien or whatever. He's the leader of this big army, and all the remaining living Saiyans are a part of his army, and they're just like wreaking havoc. And I remember at one point it showed a graphic of how many people were in the army or something, and it said there were 600 Saiyans, and I just remember thinking to myself, well, that doesn't make a lot of sense, because there's not 600 Saiyans remaining after Planet Vegeta exploded, so this must be before Planet Vegeta exploded. But 600 for an entire planet worth of Saiyans, 600 seems like a really low number. So I remember thinking that to myself. And then it randomly cut to a non-Saiyan member of his army, and he was doing something. I don't remember what he was doing. It's hard to describe what he was doing, but that was there. And then it cuts again to another scene, and for some reason it is Star-Lord and Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy, MCU Dragon Ball crossover. And I think that they are like a part of his army, because they're in a huge crowd of people, like aliens and shit. So I think that they are a part of his army, and they're having an argument about something. Somebody is, they're doing a test to see who is human or not, and Gamora really wants to take the test for some reason, because in this dream, she thinks she's a human, but Star-Lord is like, obviously you're not a human, so why are you trying to take this test? And that's all I remember from that dream. Really random shit. Okay. And then I woke up from that dream. I think it was around like 8 or 9 o'clock. It might have been around 10, actually. I think my alarm woke me up. And I've been having like alarms of every 15 minutes lately, starting with 10, 10:15, 10:30, 10:45. So I think I woke up from that dream, and then I went back to sleep. So this next dream only lasted like 10 minutes or so. The first thing that I remember from my next dream is that I am with Robert. Shout out to the homie. Shout out if you're watching this. This is the same Robert that was in my dream. If you've been following along, you may remember where I was lucid and I found a baby stroller and I hit the baby in the shopping mall. This is the same Robert. We are at his place and we're playing a video game. And then the next thing that I remember, his wife is also playing a video game, and she needed help with something. Oh, my alarm was going off. She needed help with something. I think she was stuck. It's a Nintendo game. It's like a Mario game, but also a mishmash of a bunch of other random shit. The playable character, the way that you like walked around, it reminded me of Animal Crossing for some reason. But it's definitely a Mario game. You'll see why here in a minute. She comes across a lockpicking minigame, and I've been obsessed with the Oblivion remaster lately, so it kind of seeped its way into this dream. She needed help with the lockpicking minigame, and I'm like, alright, get ready to never break a lockpick ever again. And I just go through autistically explaining how this minigame works. I explain how you pop up the thing, and you wanna get it to stick to the top is when you press A, and then I just go into the whole thing. And another weird detail about this lockpicking minigame is that the pins, I don't know if you're familiar with the Oblivion remaster or just Oblivion in general, but you pop the pins up and it just pops straight up. But in the dream it was like really wobbly. Like you would pop it up and it would like wobble. And so I was explaining the minigame to her, teaching her how it worked, and it was an average lock, so it was only 3 pins that you needed to pop up. And Yeah, I explain most of how it works, and then Bowser shows up. So, like, it's still Nintendo themed. Bowser shows up and he's trying to, like, distract you and fuck you up from doing the minigame. And I'm like, oh, well, shit, I can't really explain it now because I have to hurry up and do it. So I start trying to do it. And then I remember the most important detail, which is that you need to, when you pop up the pin and you get the right speed, once you get the slow speed, if you don't let it hit the bottom, then when you keep popping it up, it'll stay at the same speed. So as I'm trying to explain that to her, I wake up. And that's all I remember from that dream. So I woke up from that dream, and then I fell back asleep again into this next dream. This next dream, I'm an observer again, like the Dragon Ball and Guardians of the Galaxy. It's Game of Thrones this time. I don't remember a lot of the plot details. I just remember that it was Game of Thrones, and Brienne was there with Sansa and Arya. I think it was around the time of when Brienne fought the Hound. Spoilers if you haven't watched Game of Thrones. But you know how when she fights the Hound and she takes Arya with her? I think it was around that time. So I think she like exchanged Sansa for Arya. Because the Hound wasn't in my dream. But it was that same setting. Like the rocky, mountainous looking area. That's all I remember from that dream. So I woke up from that dream. And I'm like, God damn, I got 3 dreams that I'm trying to remember. So I'm going through. Each time I wake up, I commit the last dreams that I had to my memory. And as I'm laying there going through all 3 of these dreams, I fall asleep again into this last dream. And I think this is after like most of my alarms. So this is a bit of a longer dream, but I don't remember all of the exact details. What I do remember though is I'm in my papaw's house again. You know, the basement. If you've been following along, I used to live in this basement. And at this point in time that this dream takes place, my mom lived in this basement. And I'm in there, I want to say that I'm around like teenager age, 14, 15, something like that. And there were 2 other people in there with me. It was like a sleepover. I don't remember who they were. I don't know if they were original dream characters or if they were people from my real life. I don't remember who they were. One of them was a girl, and I just remember feeling the presence of somebody else. The other person didn't really actually play any part in the dream. I just remember that there was somebody else there. And I remember having sexual tension with the girl. So we're in bed. The other person that didn't really do anything, they're on like the left side of the bed, and the girl is on the right side of the bed, and I'm laying at the foot of the bed. And I remember going through the drawer in the nightstand that's on like the right side of the bed, and I found a picture. I found a photo of an orgy. Maybe I should have mentioned a viewer discretion advised in this one. But yeah, I just found a picture of an orgy, and I'm not going to get into any details, but people that I recognize is in the photo. Let's just leave it at that. And I'm like, well, shit, this doesn't feel right to have this photo. And I can't remember how the girl got the photo. I can't remember if I like woke her up and showed it to her, or if she just took it out of my hand. Then just the next thing that I remember, she has the photo, and she's like putting it in her mouth. Like she's like putting the corner of the photo in her mouth and like sucking on it. And I take it back from her and I put it back in the drawer because I'm afraid of getting caught with it. And then I go back to sleep at the foot of the bed. I'm like laying at the foot of the bed. I go back. I don't really fall back asleep, but you know what I mean. I go back to bed. And as I'm laying in bed, I'm thinking, damn, I should have taken a picture with my phone of the photo. Because I don't know how I knew it, but I just knew that the photo disappeared when I put it in the drawer. And so I go back to bed at the foot of the bed, and I guess I do fall back asleep. And when I wake up at, like, on the floor. I must have rolled off the bed and fell on the floor at some point. And the girl and I, like, make a joke about it when I wake up. And yeah, that's the dreams that I had this morning. Sorry for rambling. Like always, I always ramble. That brings my dream recall score up to 6. Because today, I phased out a day where I remembered a dream. I was at 3 yesterday. So 2 plus 4 is 6. That brings me up to 6 today. And that brings my monthly dream recall score from 14 to 20. No, not 20. 18. So I've got my monthly dream recall score for May is 18. And my dream recall score currently is 6. Good night and sweet dreams.